Most people think the first $1,000 is just a small milestone. It doesn't sound life-changing. It doesn't sound impressive. And when you're just starting out, it can feel almost impossible. If you've ever tried to save and felt like progress was painfully slow, you're not alone. I'm Mike, and on this channel I break down money in a clear, practical way so it actually makes sense. If you find this helpful, consider liking the video and subscribing for more straightforward, pressure-free guidance. Today, we're talking about why that first $1,000 is the hardest, and why it matters more than you think. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. The first $1,000 is hard, because you're building from zero. When you have nothing set aside, every expense feels urgent. Every unexpected bill feels personal. You're not just saving money, you're fighting habits, emotions, and sometimes even your identity. In the beginning, there's no momentum. You don't see interest working for you. You don't feel progress. You're simply choosing not to spend. And that can feel like sacrifice without reward. But the reason it's so hard is exactly why it's so powerful. When you save your first $1,000, you're not just collecting cash. You're proving to yourself that you can control your money instead of reacting to it. You're building a small buffer between you and chaos. And that changes how you think. Now let's walk through this step by step. First, understand what the first $1,000 is for. It's not an investment fund. It's not a vacation account. It's not there to earn returns. It's a starter emergency fund. Its job is to protect you from small financial shocks, car repairs, medical co-pays, last-minute travel, appliance breakdowns. Without that buffer, every surprise turns into debt. With it, a problem stays a problem, not a crisis. Second, realize that saving the first $1,000 is more about behavior than math. If you earn $2,000 or $5,000 a month, the principle is the same. You must create a gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap becomes your savings, and that gap requires awareness. Start by tracking your spending for 30 days. Not to judge yourself, not to feel bad, just to see the truth. Where is your money going? How many small, routine purchases add up quietly? Often the issue isn't one big expense. It's consistency in small spending. Third, simplify your savings process. Don't rely on willpower alone. Set up an automatic transfer to a separate savings account every time you get paid, even if it's $50, even if it's $25. Consistency builds identity. When you automate saving, you remove the daily debate. You don't ask yourself whether to save. You've already decided. Fourth, lower the emotional resistance. Many people struggle with saving because it feels restrictive. But think of it differently. You're not depriving yourself. You're buying peace of mind. The first $1,000 is the price of breathing easier. Let me give you a simple example. Spender Mike earns a steady paycheck. He doesn't think of himself as reckless. He just enjoys convenience. He upgrades his phone early. He eats out a few times a week. He subscribes to services he rarely uses because it's only a few dollars. At the end of the month, he's confused. His income isn't bad. But there's nothing left. Saving feels impossible. When Spender Mike decides to build his first $1,000, he doesn't start by cutting everything. He starts by reviewing his bank statement. He notices 3 subscriptions he forgot about. That's $42 a month. He decides to cook at home 2 extra nights per week. That saves another $120 monthly. He delays upgrading his phone. Within 4 months, he reaches $1,000. What changed? His income didn't. His habits did. And once he hits that number, something shifts internally. He feels more in control. When his car needs a minor repair, he pays cash. No credit card. No stress. That one moment reinforces the value of the buffer. This is why the first $1,000 matters. It breaks the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. It reduces reliance on debt. It gives you options. Now, let's talk about common mistakes people make during this phase. One mistake is trying to do everything at once. People decide they'll save $1,000, invest aggressively, pay off all debt, and completely change their lifestyle in a month. That pressure usually leads to burnout. Focus on one target. The first $1,000. Another mistake is keeping savings in the same checking account. If your emergency fund sits next to your spending money, it doesn't feel protected. It's too easy to dip into it for non-emergencies. Keep it separate. A third mistake is giving up too early. Many people quit when they hit $300 or $400 because progress feels slow. But remember, the beginning is the steepest part of the climb. Once you build the habit, momentum builds with it. And here's something important. Don't wait for a perfect month to start. There is no perfect month. There will always be birthdays, holidays, repairs, or unexpected invitations. Start anyway. So what does a simple action plan look like? Step 1. Calculate your current monthly spending, not an estimate, the real number. Step 2. Identify 1 or 2 expenses you can realistically reduce without making your life miserable. Step 3. Set a fixed savings amount for each paycheck. Automate it. Step 4. Treat that transfer as non-negotiable. It's not leftover money. It's a bill you pay to yourself. Step 5. Track progress visually. Even a simple note on your phone showing $250, $400, $650, seeing the number grow reinforces the habit. And if you receive extra money, tax refunds, bonuses, gifts, consider allocating a portion toward that $1,000 goal. You don't have to put all of it there. But using windfalls strategically accelerates progress. Now let's zoom out and talk about the mindset shift. Before $1,000, money feels fragile. After $1,000, money feels slightly stable. It's not about the number itself. It's about what it represents. Control, margin, choice. When you don't have savings, every decision feels reactive. You swipe your card and hope it clears. You avoid checking your balance. You feel tension before payday. When you have even a small emergency fund, that tension eases. You check your account without fear. You make decisions more deliberately. And here's where it becomes powerful. Once you prove you can save $1,000, you've built the skill required to save $5,000. Or $10,000. Or to invest consistently. The first $1,000 is not financially impressive, but behaviorally, it's transformative. It shows you that you can delay gratification. It shows you that small changes compound. It shows you that stability is built gradually, not in dramatic leaps. This milestone also changes your relationship with debt. When you have no savings, credit cards feel like a safety net. When you have $1,000, you begin to see credit as optional, not necessary for survival. That shift is subtle but powerful. Over time, your goal will grow. After your starter emergency fund, you'll likely aim for 3 to 6 months of expenses. You'll think about investing. You'll refine your budget. But none of that happens well if the foundation is missing. The first $1,000 is the foundation. And if you're struggling to reach it, don't interpret that as failure. Interpret it as training. You're learning awareness. You're building discipline. You're redesigning habits that may have existed for years. That takes time. Be patient with yourself. Reduce friction. Automate what you can. And focus on progress, not perfection. If you're at $100, you're building. If you're at $400, you're building. If you're at $900, you're almost there. Every dollar represents a decision in your favor. And once you cross that $1,000 mark, pause. Acknowledge it, not with a big purchase, but with recognition. You did something difficult. That confidence carries forward. So if this feels hard right now, that's normal. The first $1,000 is hard because you're changing who you are with money. You're shifting from reactive to intentional, from fragile to stable, and that shift matters far more than the number itself. If this video helped you understand why the first $1,000 is so important and gave you clarity on how to approach it, hit the like button and subscribe for more practical, straightforward money guidance. I'll see you in the next one.